Okay. And then right about when I'm about to talk is when the neighbor's little Pomeranian starts to yip. Anyway, hi. Welcome to my live stream. I had to take care of lunch really quick before I sat down and started talking. So anyway, welcome to my stream. I am Kelsey. I'm a comic artist. I draw a comic called The Legend of Jamie Roberts, which is about a genderqueer pirate and their two best friends treasure hunting in a land full of dragons. You can read that at thelegendofjamieroberts.com. Link is also in the description. And I see there's people in the chat already. Hi, Jessica. I forgot you were doing a live stream this weekend. I almost forgot too, to be fair. But if there are folks who are unable to make it live, this will archive on YouTube as just a straight video for you to enjoy later. Yeah. Other than that, for folks who are watching live and for folks who are watching on the replay, I am running a clearance sale on Ko-fi, actually. I want to clear out a lot of the old stuff that I have because I want to make a bunch of new stuff. I'm actually going to make one of these new things in today's live stream, but I want to clear out the old stuff. So I'm running a clearance sale on Ko-fi. You can check that out at linktree/KelseyD. Link is also in the description. There's 50-cent mini comics, $1 mini prints. There's other stuff that's marked down. I even have an 11x17 print that's marked down to like $5 each. There's limited quantities of all of these things, by the way. And some things have already sold out. So jump on it while you can. This sale is happening until August 15th. Anyway, linktree/KelseyD. Link is also in the description. I'll leave this banner up at the bottom of the screen for a little bit. Anyway, let's start making one of the things that I said would be a new piece to replace some of the stuff that's on clearance. I need to do a screen share or else you can't see my Clip Studio Paint window. There we go. Cool, it's working. Just making sure that it's working. All right, now, what I want to work on is part of a series because I've been working on this piece of fiction called The Saga of the Last Valkyrie for a while. But this is the sketch idea of the print that I want to make. I have better ideas of what to do for the final piece of it, but this is a good jumping off point. This is a general idea to start with, but we're going to build off of this. First thing we're going to do is I'm going to change the dimensions, or rather I'm actually going to do this. I'm going to save this version in, I have a little folder, a little subfolder for all of my works in progress. We're going to save this as a Clip Studio Paint version. We're going to zoom out and we're going to change the canvas size. Inches. Here, reference point, the upper left. There we go. Because then it does that. Whenever you have the reference point anywhere that's not the center square, it can change the dimensions of the canvas depending on where it is that you select the anchor to be. Okay. Cut that entire layer and we're going to paste that there. Okay. Scale. Let's do 150 and see what that looks like. Okay. Could go a little larger. This is going to make the base sketch like super pixely, but we're doing this as like the under sketch. This is not going to be the final iteration. Boop. Excuse me. Okay. And we're going to change the opacity of that to 50%. Okay. I'm going to pause for a sec. Okay. Now, these two characters that I'm drawing are the parents of the last Valkyrie. That's part of this long ass piece of fiction that I've been writing for a while. um, the figure back here is their father. He's going to be in his kind of a rage state for this particular print. And then the mother is in the forefront here. The mother was the last Valkyrie until the last Valkyrie was born. Before I start, I'm going to get a guide because this piece is going to have a lot of symmetry to it. Let me make sure that that was at the halfway point. This is 11 inches wide, so it needs to be at 5.5. Which it looks like that guy is at about 5.5. Hold on a sec. I'm gonna no, that would be too annoying. I was going to change it to centimeters or millimeters, but that would fiddle too much with the. Yeah, nah, I'm not going to bother with that. It's too many numbers. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5 ish. Okay, the guides can move a tad. There we go. That's better. Okay, now that we got the guide in place, I'm going to get the symmetry tool in place. Zoom in a little bit. More than a little bit. And there we go. Now we got the symmetry tool in line. Okay. With that, I'm going to move the sketch. There we go. Just for the basis. Turn the symmetrical ruler off for a sec. Put the guides on. There we go. Because at least that way, with just the guide instead of the symmetry, the guide makes it easier to draw a straight line. But I'm going to turn that guide back off and turn symmetry back on to get that jaw. By the way, if you would like to see me work traditionally rather than digitally, just shout it out in the comments because I have other art pieces that can be worked on today. This large print is one of the pieces that I wanted to incorporate into my lineup once the clearance sale is over. I also want to incorporate a illustration series of cryptids. And there's a lot of other stuff that I want to draw, but I got to do clearance first and clear out some of the old stuff. Okay, the sketch layer is throwing me off, so I'm just going to do this. There. That's the wrist guide. No, symmetrical needs to stay on, but the sketch layer needs to go off. Maybe if I drew on this side. There we go. Sometimes you just gotta flip your basis. Okay. Had to turn the guide layer back on again for that part. Back to symmetry. Okay, turning that sketch layer off. Because this particular image has been percolating in my mind for the better part of a year. So there are some details that I want to draw that are not in the original sketch. So I'm going to be playing a little fast and loose here. That head needs to shrink because that head is too big. There we go. How's that looking? Oh, much better. Okay, yeah. That head was too big. It was throwing me off. I'm probably only going to stream for a little bit today because I have a surprising amount of commissions that need done. General life update, just to give you the lowdown of what's going on. Part of the reason I haven't been streaming as much is because I got a job fairly recently, like this past month, at a bakery that's down the road from me. Unfortunately, it's one of those gigs that it just doesn't jive with me as much as I thought it would. Part of that is because some of the coworkers that I have seem to think that everything that is going on right now is a hoax. I'm not all about that life. And honestly, I've given up any notion of trying to negotiate with these people because once you start thinking that everything that's happening around you is a hoax, that is a special level of reality denial that can't be negotiated with. It's also an indication that those kinds of people fall for scams really easy. And it can be really hard to, pull people out of scams. given all of that is why I'm trying to cut back the amount of hours that I'm working at the bakery. With that, I've managed to convince them to only have me work like 2 days out of the week. And then I just do freelance stuff all the other days that I'm not working at the bakery. So far, that's been working out. But with fewer hours at the bakery, now the commission stuff is picking back up again, which is nice. I like that it's picking back up. For a little while, I just wasn't able to live stream as much because the bakery kept having me work on weekends. Now I can actually get back to live streaming. That would be a really shitty working environment. It's kind of shitty. It was pretty shitty. The final straw for me was when there was this like a teeny bopper who came in. I call her a teeny bopper because she's definitely younger than me. I know that much, but she's like, I think college age because she was wearing a U of T shirt. But she came in and she was like, so my mom made me get the COVID vaccine against my will. And I'm like, I don't need to work here anymore. Because if there are coworkers who have that kind of attitude, I don't need to be around them because this person could have gotten me sick and she would not have cared. I don't need those kinds of coworkers. So cutting back on the amount of hours until they get themselves staffed up enough that I can just leave. I'm working on it. By the way, shout out to my patrons and my commissioners and all the peeps who have been buying stuff from my Ko-fi shop and hiring me to do commissions and stuff because you're helping with making leaving the bakery a little bit easier. Yeah, it's just been between the bakery and some of the stuff that's been happening outside of that. The last month has not been particularly great. So I'm glad, though, that I can get back to live streaming. That's really nice. And I want to live stream more. We'll get there one thing at a time. Oh, good. I was a little worried for a minute. I was like, did I have the symmetry ruler in place? I did. Okay. We're good. But yeah, the temporary gig at working at the bakery reminded me, oh, so this is why I work from home. Yeah, just virtual hugs. I appreciate it. Yeah, being based in the Midwest is no fun. Okay. May need to set up guides to draw these swords. But we'll focus on that probably later. Well, hold on. If I have the symmetry tool up and I want to draw a guide for the swords, what will that do? Okay. So it'll just set up the guide on the one side, but with the symmetry tool in place, you should be able to draw on the one side and it mirrors onto the other. Let's see if I am correct. have the sword in purple. I need to get another illustration up on the side for a point of reference. This one. Or possibly there was possibly another one that I could use. Hold on a sec. Boop. I'll leave this magnificent piece up for a second on screen share while I look at this other thing. Okay. Super basic sword shape here. Excuse me. Yeah, these are super basic sword shapes from the original last Valkyrie print that I was working on. So these are going to have a little bit more embellishment. I just had a thought occurred to me. Because I have the symmetry tool already in place, I could feasibly just start another layer, draw the sword on that layer using the symmetry tool, and then just move stuff around. But that sounds like a phenomenal pain in the butt. On the other hand, though, it does look like the sword handles that I've drawn so far are mirroring on the other side. So yay for that. But we're going to delete those. And this too. Here we go. My employer is convinced everyone needs to be in the office and is going to make everyone going in 3 days a week. I'm fighting this due to asthma and chemical sensitivity. Good. I'm glad you're fighting it. This is something that my sister Kia is actually struggling with too, because she started working in an office and she's largely been working from home. But now the employer is like, okay, we're going to start bringing people back into the office again. But my sister has severe anxiety, and it's a honest, legit neurological deficit. She just is going to do much better if she can just work from home and be productive that way. And honestly, I am of the opinion that employers need to keep in mind employee productivity rather than just keeping up the status quo that they had pre-pandemic, because studies have shown that when people can work from home, they are just as productive, if not more so. So, yeah. I know anxiety well. Shittiest friend I have. Same. You and I are on the same boat there. Because, I don't have anxiety nearly to the level that my sister has, but it's still not a great roommate to have, as it were. It's really annoying. My sister's is more social anxiety. Mine is more cooking up doomsday scenarios in order to try to plan around them. But anxiety doesn't like to plan. It just cooks up bad scenarios in order for you to react to them. That's how my anxiety works. It's not fun. Yeah, that sounds about right. My employer keeps telling people they are not as productive when working from home, but they will not show the data. Yeah, that sounds like your employer just really wants people to come back into the office because they more than likely paid for all that real estate and they want to put it to use. But yeah, I feel you about working so much better at home without all of the distractions. I am the same way. Uh, Part of that too, though, is just when you're an artist, you just have a work from home setup and you have learned how to work from home, either with or without all the distractions. But when it comes to how I handle anxiety, because it's not a great roommate to have, when it comes to anxiety, the way that I handle it, or try to handle it anyway, is I do go to therapy, and that has helped a lot. Turning that guide off. So yeah, I go to therapy and I talk to my therapist as often as I can. Now, problem with that right now is that the therapist that I usually go to is away for the summer, and the clinic where I go to have therapy keeps changing my therapist like every other week, I've noticed, because either somebody will quit, somebody will have their license revoked, or some other disaster. So at this point, the best that I can do is the best that I can do. And the best that I can do is I maintain a journal. I try to meditate in the mornings. I have a little flyer hung up on my wall with, you know, things to keep in mind if I'm bordering on a panic attack. And that list of things is the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If you have not heard of this method, it's list 5 things that you can see, 4 things that you can touch, 3 things that you can hear, 2 things that you can smell, and 1 thing that you can taste. Now, when I spoke with my first therapist, the one who was with me before the summer break, she said to go in depth about some of these things. I don't necessarily feel like going into depth about that list of stuff. Like, I don't necessarily feel like going, oh, yes, I can taste the water. It is cool and crisp and watery. I don't necessarily feel like doing that sort of a thing most of the time. But being able to say, like, oh, yes, I can see a print of Critical Role up on my wall. I can see my Blue Snowball microphone. I can see my laptop currently running. I can see that I have a glass of water, and I can see that I have a phone mount strapped onto my table. Yeah, that's fucked up. You can't just change therapists and expect to get anywhere. Yeah, it's been frustrating. One sec. I got my water. One sec. There we go. Okay. You know what? I'm going to layer. Okay. Got the symmetrical ruler in place. We're going to turn that sketch layer off. Probably the pencil layer too. Or, because I kind of need the guide of how big to make this sword. Here we go. We're going to decrease that to 50%. Hi, kitty. What's up, baby? Bree's just pacing around my feet. Okay. We'll make this a little more red. There we go. Okay. Oh, Bree? She's thinking about getting into my lap. There she goes. Okay. Hold on a minute, Bree. You're going to be on camera. There she goes. She always smushes her face up against the desk. Always. Yeah. Are you going to settle? Are you going to settle, honey? She's thinking about it. She hasn't decided if she's going to settle or not. Are you going to settle? Or are you just going to keep smooshing your face up against the desk? In case you are wondering, because in past live streams, my desk has been a different color. And that's because I did get a new desk recently. There is a long story to this. And I'll talk about it in a blog post. I'm just not feeling it right now. But I'm keeping this desk.